Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, in this video, we're going to be starting the second chapter of Al-Ajrumiyyah, which is the chapter of Al-Iraab. So Al-Iraab is the bread and butter of Nahu. Al-Iraab is the foundation upon which all of the science of Nahu deals with. The reason why is because, as you know, the definition of Nahu is علم بأصول تعرف بها أحوال أواخر الكلمات. And Nahu is a science that teaches you principles which enable you to know the ending of the word. That's what a Nahu grammar is. Grammar is a science of the Arabic language that teaches you principles which will enable you to know the ending of the word. Yani, will the word have a dhamma or a kasra or a fatha? طيب? And A'rab, as we're going to see the definition of, is تغيير أواخر الكلم لاختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها لفظا وتقديرا. And A'rab is the changing that's happening at the ending of the word because of the changing of active elements entering upon it. So inshallah, it's going to make more sense as we continue. But my main point is that I'rab is pretty much the practical application of Nahu. I'rab, which we're going to cover, which this entire chapter is going to be about, is the practical application of what Nahu is. The practical application of what Nahu is. Because Nahu is a science that teaches you the ending of the word. And the ending of the word, it changing, that is what I'rab is. I'rab is that change that you're seeing at the end of the word. Why is the word changing from a dhamma to a kasra, and so on and so forth? That's what Nahu teaches you. Okay? And I'rab is that actual change that's happening. The actual change that's happening is called I'rab. So my main point here is just a brief introduction that an I'rab is the most important thing to understand in Nahu, and you can never ever be good at Nahu except if you've mastered this chapter. So the second chapter here is the most important chapter in Ajrumiyyah. It's the most important chapter you're ever going to study in Nahu in general. And until you've mastered this chapter, you should never move forward. Most people, they're not good in grammar, or they have difficulty with grammar because they don't understand this chapter properly. Because they don't understand this chapter properly, you can't move on. Because as I think I've covered before, grammar, Arabic grammar is like math in the sense that if you don't have your multiplications, you can never do divisions. And if you're not able to do divisions, you can never do algebra. So everything is built on itself. Nahu is exactly like that. Everything is built on itself. Even if you're not good at math, like I'm not good at math, it's fine. The most important thing that you understand that every single concept, you need to make sure you understand it because things are built on itself or are built on each other. So an Arab is the most important thing. Likewise, it's also the most complex. It's the most complex thing for beginners to understand. So this chapter of A'rab is going to be long, it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be rewarding because once you've understood it, inshallah, the rest of Nahu is very easy. As Ibn Uthaymeen, the great scholar, he said, Nahu, the science of grammar, is like a house made of candy, but the door is made of steel. So it's hard for you to break that door. But once you break that door, you're in Candyland. Okay, that's not his verbatim words, the last part, but in a general sense, he did say that Nahu is like a candy house, and but the door is made of steel. Okay. So now that we understand that, in A'rab, the chapter of A'rab is broken down to three categories. In the first category, we talk about the definition of A'rab, which is what we're going to talk about right now. I briefly highlighted to what the definition of A'rab is. Then after that, we're going to talk about the different types of A'rab, because there's actually three types of A'rab in the Arabic language, as we're going to see. And likewise, there's also four different possible types of A'rab that one word can have. And then finally, we're going to talk about the different signs of I'rab. So this is what all makes sense, inshallah. So we're going to start in the first video by talking about the definition. And then the second chapter, we're going to talk about the types. And then we're going to talk about the signs. So it's going to take quite a bit of time. It's going to be the longest section. But inshallah, like I said, it will be rewarding. So let's start off with the first thing, which is just the definition. What is an I'rab? An I'rab is a change that happens at the ending of a word because of the changing of active elements entering upon it. So what does this mean? A word in the Arabic language, its ending can change. So the word al-baytu, for example, will change from a dhamma to a kasra sometimes, right? Allah said, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ يعني هَذَا الْبَيْتِ, right? If you were to read if we continue reading the verse, yani. So sometimes we say bayti, sometimes we say baytu, just like the word Allah. Sometimes we say Allahu, sometimes we say Alhamdulillahi, sometimes we say Allah with a fatha, with a dhamma. That change that you're seeing is what the Arab is. The change that's happening at the ending of a word. That change that you're seeing there is called I'rab. Now, why is it changing? Why is Allah sometimes Allahu, while other times it's Allah? And why is Al-Baytu sometimes Al-Baytu, but sometimes Al-Bayti? This will happen because of an active element like fi. because of the changing of active elements entering upon it. What's an active element? An active element are what in the Arabic language is called awamil, awamil, which are pretty much roughly translated as active elements. Pretty much these are words in the Arabic language that will have an effect on the i'rab of the word that comes after it. There are words in the Arabic language that will affect the i'rab, and it will affect the ending of the word that comes after it. Any word that does that is called the active elements. There are many different types of active elements in the Arabic language. When you study grammar, you will learn them. But pretty much any awam and any active element is a word in the Arabic language that's going to have an effect on the i'rab, on the ending of the word that comes after it. So what's an example of an active element? Fi. Fi is an example of an active element. It's called a harf jar. So we have al-baytu. Al-baytu is ending with a dhamma, right? But then if I had an active element like fi before it, it will change al-baytu to al-bayti with a kasra. So why did al-baytu change to al-bayti, which is the change that's happening at the end of the word? Why does this change happen? Because of the change of active elements entering upon it, like fi. This is what i'rab is. Now, there are different types of endings that a word can have, and that's what we're going to be covering in the next section. But if you understood this, you understood what i'rab is. I'rab is the changing of the change that you're seeing at the ending of the word, baytu, bayti, baytan. Why is that change happening? Because there's certain words that are coming in the sentence that are making that change happen. And those words are called active elements. This entire thing I just explained is what i'rab is.